welcome back to Tech and Tequila, the podcast where technology meets comunidad con corazón. And of course, we always have the best sips and the best vibes. I'm your host, Kat Lopez Shelby, coming to you today from, of course, Texas, but also I am part of the Shelby Technology Solutions team. So Shelby Technology Solutions is where we help businesses keep their tech connected, secure, and actually working for them, not the other way around. And today's topic that we're going to cover, it is everywhere you can imagine, from your favorite apps to, I promise you, there's a refrigerator out there somewhere that has it, to several different IoT devices, to the way your team gets work done, and that is AI. So in case you haven't heard of AI, I don't know what rock you would be living under. So obviously, I think everyone has heard of AI, different versions of it. And today we're going to kind of get into the real talk behind AI and everything that it covers. But first, you know how we do it. So let's talk about what is going to be in my glass today. So I have this glass here from Free AF, of course, because today is a special episode again where we are going to cover tech and tastings, not just tech and tequila. So, of course, you are familiar with our tech and tastings. So these moments are for our sober, curious crew, my fully sober friends, and honestly, anyone who wants something fun and festive without booze. All right. And so today I am talking about Free AF, a non-alcoholic option that still feels like a grown-up holiday sip for you. Because let us all be real, during the holidays, sometimes you want to participate in the vibe without having that terrible hangover and, you know, the extra anxiety of waking up feeling like you have 37 tabs open inside your brain, right? So they have a holiday collection. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's Happy AF. And they really have the flavor that anybody could possibly want. So I have a couple here. They have Aperol Spritz, in case you're looking for more like that Italian vibe. Or they have a Paloma, which anybody who knows tech and tequila, I love Palomas. And they also have whiskey and ginger, which that's more, I would say, more like a deep, dark, oaky vibe. And of course, for those who want something super light, they have cucumber. And all of these flavors come in their holiday edition that I just showed you, that you can pick up at several different locations. So you can pick it up at, Target. I think you can pick it up at Walmart as well. But, check online, check Free AF, and be sure to give it a try. It is amazing. So if you're headed into your El Dia de los Gracias, office parties, family gatherings, holiday events, or anything where you want to have something different in your glass, then, Free AF is a great option to bring along, pour over ice, and still feel like you're celebrating. And I love it because, of course, it matches the whole tech and tequila energy, which is intentional choices, good vibes, and staying sharp. All right, so let us get our drink poured. Obviously, your girl's going to go with a Paloma today because that sounds delicious. And got that cracked open. We have our drink poured, our holiday activated. Now let's jump into some AI chat today, or real talk, I should say. So just to give you an idea of some of the topics that we are going to cover today, and of course, why. So we're going to get into why almost everyone says they're using AI, but only a tiny percentage are seeing real measurable ROI, or return on investment, from it. We'll talk about what's really blocking AI success, and I'm going to give you a hint. It's not just the tech. Why so many people and projects turn into what the particular ebook that this whole thing is based on is innovation theater. And how you, whether you're a founder, an IT leader, or a tech advisor, can cross that divide and start getting the most important thing, which is true business outcomes from your AI. So this episode is, of course, especially for my small and mid-sized business owners, my IT and operations leaders, and my fellow technology advisors, of course, because closing the AI divide, that's not just a buzz phrase. It's the difference between we're playing with AI and AI saved us 6 figures this year. So let's get a jump in. All right, so let's set the scene. 4 years into this whole AI era, the story is very messy. On one hand, there's a massive potential. On the other hand, there's a whole lot of frustration going on. So according to some of the research, closing the AI gap, about 95% of organizations are not seeing significant returns on their AI investment or their generative AI investments or what they're using, while a small 5% are extracting millions in value. So let that sink in for a moment. That's right, you heard me. There's a small 5% that are extracting millions. Everyone's talking about AI. Everyone's buying tools. Everyone's in some kind of pilot program or every single app. Just like I said, you're seeing AI everywhere. But only 5% are saying, yes, this is hitting our P&L. This is making an impact. And the gap between using AI and profiting for AI is what we're going to call the AI divide. And I see this a lot with my own clients all the time. You know, they've got ChatGPT open all the time, Copilot or some other plugin. Maybe they're trying a customer service bot they tested, or last year, a vendor who promised them AI is everything in power. And of course, leadership is like, okay, cool, but what's the ROI? And I know we've all seen it where it's like, what do we want AI? When do we want it now? What is it supposed to do? No clue, right? So the questions you want to be asking yourself is what you're using, is it making your customers happier? Are we spending less? Are we making more? Are we reducing risk? And most of the time, the answer is not really and not yet. So now is here where everything, of course, gets more interesting, especially for small and mid-market folks, because in some of the information that I looked over for today's podcast, it points out that 91% of middle market firms say they've adopted some type of AI. About a quarter say it's fully integrated into their core operations, and 43% say it's integrated in some workflows. But when you ask about implementation issues, data quality keeps popping up as a point of concern or a top issue that they're having. So it's not that people aren't trying. It's not that these efforts aren't always translating into real business outcomes, right? So what we're unpacking today is why does AI stall? Why it turns into, like I said, innovation theater, and what the successful 5% are doing differently. So everybody take a sip. Let's get ready. We're going to get into it. If you're listening and you're thinking, yeah, that sounds like my company, or hey, that's why we haven't done this, I promise you are not alone. So first off, while we're in this discussion, let's talk about a few things. And that is, what is the divide? So where does that gap? So organizations actively using IT sanctioned generation AI tools, right? And those that have actually translated into measurable profit, cost, impact. So let's say you have this great AI chatbot, you have a Copilot license for every user, you have an AI note taker for your meetings. But if your customer churn is the same, your cost to serve is the same, and your risk profile is the same, you might still be on the wrong side of that divide. So one of the things that you want to look at, and I love the language of this, and that is that whole, I know I keep saying it, but the innovation theater. And why? Why do I love that so much? Because you're doing, people are saying, well, we're doing AI, but they can't point to these things: faster ticket resolution, lower cost per call, fewer security incidents, and higher revenue per rep. So it looks like innovation from the outside, but the numbers, they're static. They're not changing. So, and that here's one of the other wrinkles that we see a lot. And we see this a lot overall, especially in the IT space, your trusted tech advisors. I'm sure if you talk to anyone in your IT staff, they would say, and that's the shadow AI. So this happens when, let's say, you bring a tool in, but quietly some of your employees are still using tools like Chat GPT or Copilot on their own time because the official AI tools are too clunky, too slow, and not just helpful. So when you want to think about this, think about how often your employees know what AI can feel like and how good it can be from personal use. So then what they're doing is they're rejecting this rigid, static enterprise tool that don't adapt. And the biggest thing is they're not integrating into the workflows. So now you have an IT sanctioned tool that nobody likes. You've got people still using shadow tools nobody's tracking, and we've all seen what that leads to, right? Because anytime you put anything in a lot of these AI tools, it's like out on the World Wide Web now. And a big question mark over data privacy, compliance, and risk. And that's where a lot of the companies get stuck. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh yeah, I know my team is using shadow AI. I want you to hear this. Shadow AI is not a sign that your people are, let's say, intentionally trying to sabotage what you're looking for. It's a sign that your systems and strategies may not be serving them as well as they need to. So it may be time to take a step back, go over some things, look and see how can we be, how can we be more efficient? What are they trying to do? So people are generally trying to be more efficient. They're trying to get work done faster. They just don't have the right official tools or guardrails. So they've gone rogue. So here in a second, we're going to cover some of the big reasons that companies in general struggle with this. And I guarantee you will recognize at least one of them in your own world. All right, so let's get into the why, right? The core barrier to scaling AI isn't infrastructure, talent, or regulation. Even though all those things matter, all of them are real issues with AI tools. So you want to make sure that you're not stuck in this not learning and not adapting, not integrating, and things not integrating well into your workflow and processes. And 3 of the main reasons that AI initiatives fail, all right? So 1, misaligned strategy. So many AI projects start with, look at what this amazing tool can do instead of what business outcome do we want. They get stuck in a feature mode instead of an outcome mode. And I'm going to give you an example. So let's say a manager deploys an AI assistant that helps people type emails faster. I can think of a few that I have personally used. That's nice, but it doesn't reduce churn, and it doesn't increase sales, and it doesn't help with wait times. So when it's time to justify the spend, people are looking down saying, why are we paying for this? It's cool, but what is it really doing for our business? And that is the mismatch. It's treating AI like a technology initiative rather than a business transformation. The other thing, of course, and I know we've seen this with many, many different things, is poor adoption, right? So even when companies roll out these AI tools, some people just don't use them. Now, you have some people that don't feel comfortable with them. And you have some people that use them once, hate them, hate the experience, and they're never going to go back. Why? Because as some people highlight, employees already know what good AI feels like because they are using them privately. They've seen how fast, helpful consumer grade tools can be. I mean, some of them are calling, Chat GPT. That's my Chatty G. Like, Chatty G does this for me. So when they get stuck with some lockdown, static, hard to use enterprise tool, they're like, yeah, no thanks. I'll just use my personal account. And we won't even get into all of the things that can cause. But the biggest thing is this fuels that shadow AI economy. Unapproved tools, data being posted into systems outside things you can control, and a total lack of visibility for IT and security teams, right? And we all know what that leads to. I do not have to tell you about that. And thirdly, fragmented platforms. So Organizations tend to stack up a bunch of point solutions, one AI for marketing, another for support, another built for their CIM, plus some random internal proof of concept developed or spun up. And they're not talking to each other, they're not sharing, they're learning, and none of them are deeply woven into workflows. For example, for your hosted phone system or your contact center as a service or your CRM, a way that feels natural. That fragmentation creates more complexity, not less. So if your AI landscape feels like a junk drawer, ooh, Lord, we all know what those are like, or your junk condiment drawer in some cases, this is probably why you're not seeing the real impact. So let's pause here for a few quick takeaways for a moment. So here's what we've covered so far. There's a huge divide between AI hype and actual ROI. Innovation theater is real. I still want to say innovation theater. We're doing AI without the numbers to back it up. You've got shadow AI is a symptom of misaligned tools, not bad people, and big blockers are strategy, adaptation, and fragmentation. So if you're nodding your head right now, I want you to say it with me. We're going to talk about what the successful 5% are doing differently, and that is where it gets fun. So let's talk about these people. We're going to call them the big W winners, right? So we're going to talk about what they're doing differently. So they're not just playing with shiny, cute little tools or your shiny ornaments and sparkly lights. They are very intentional. So first off, here's a few things that they do differently. One, they start with outcomes. Winning organizations begin with questions like, where are we losing the most time? Where are our customers most frustrated? What processes are most expensive and error prone? They define success before picking the tools. So instead of it being like, let's just automate something, we want to reduce incident response time from days to hours. We want to cut our call handling times by 30%. We want to improve first contact resolution. They tend to target overlooked areas. So the best-in-class leaders aren't just using AI for customer-facing stuff. They're also targeting their second set. When you think about a business, who are your customers? You have external customers and you have internal customers. They're also targeting your back office, operations, and finance, areas that are often overlooked but ripe for transformation and cost savings. So think about automated invoice processing, assisting with procurement, streamlining compliance documentation, supporting forecasting and financial analysis. That's right. These aren't, let's say, the most sexy cases, but they can be extremely impactful. Another thing that they're doing, they invest in cloud and networking foundations. That's right. I said cloud and networking foundation. So traditionally, they have strong cloud and network infrastructure, including robust data privacy and compliance, AI models and data security with monitoring and zero trust architecture, optimized infrastructure for low latency and solid performance. I want to say that again. Optimize infrastructure for low latency and solid performance. In other words, if your network is shaky and your data is a hot mess in a handbag, your AI will reflect that. You cannot pour a top shelf tequila into a cracked glass and expect to have a great experience. Let's be legitly serious. Or pour a top shelf tequila into some absolutely over sugar something mixer. Don't do it. Don't do it. Take that bad boy neat. Right? And it is the same with AI. So one of the things they do is they build platforms, not pilots. This part is especially important for, of course, my tech advisors, for my IT leaders. And what this points out is internal AI deployments succeed about 33% of the time, when the external partnerships succeed about 67% of the time. So why? because point solutions and disconnected pilots rarely scale. Instead, successful organizations choose platforms that integrate with their UCaaS, with their CCaaS, with their CRM, or with other core tools. So they're working together. And they work with partners who understand both business and tech. And this is kind of, I mean, I feel like we're really going full circle because we're going back to what are the business outcomes? What do you want to see? And they treat AI as part of a long-term architecture, not just we're going to have this one-off product. So if you are a technology advisor listening to this, this is your lane. You are not just selling AI, you are helping architect outcomes. All right, guys, let's bring this home. And of course, I work in the channel. I'm a trusted tech advisor. Companies, especially ones in mid-market, are leaning heavily on experts for guidance. So about 90% of the time, IT buyers in this space are open to meeting with new tech advisors because, let's be real, they may not know, so this is uncharted territory for them. And they don't just want tools. They want someone to connect the dots between their business goals, their data reality, their security posture, and of course, come up with the right AI solutions. And of course, that is where your trusted tech advisors like Shelby Tech and of course others come into play. And so what is critically important for advisors is making sure that you turn AI into a real business impact, not just point solutions, translate outcomes, moving customers from pilots to production, streamline vendor selection, of course, with trusted suppliers that you've worked with that know their integrations. So let's talk. What should these conversations sound like when you get into the gist of talking about AI, right? Instead of asking, do you want to use AI for cybersecurity? You want to ask, how many dedicated security workers do you have? Have you had any recent cybersecurity issues? How much time and money would it save if you could detect, contain, and recover from incidents in hours instead of days? Or let's say you're talking about customer experience. What's your average response time for customer inquiries? How often do customers have to contact you more than once to solve a problem? What would it mean if your customers could get accurate answers 24/7, even when your staff is offline? And the thing is, these questions naturally lead to, of course, AI agents, AI-powered help desks, AI co-pilots for internal teams. And what is the magic phrase that you want to use? It's integrate AI into workflows. AI has to live where employees already work. So that's in your UCaaS, in your CCaaS, in your CRM, in those different platforms, those different SaaS platforms that your employees are already using, not in some random portal that nobody wants to log into. So let's talk about this. Let's make this personal, right? So if you're a business owner or a business leader or someone that has been tasked with that, what do we want? AI. When do we want it? Now. Why do we want it? We don't know. So I want you to ask yourself these things. Do we have AI pilots or actual AI outcomes? Are our employees using sanctioned tools or just shadow AI in the background? Is our data clean and secure enough for AI to, of course, this would be generative AI, to learn from it responsibly? Do we have a partner or someone or somebody that we can go to that can help us translate all this into a real roadmap, right? So those are all questions you should be asking yourself, right? This is what you want to look at, because here's the thing. When you sit down and you're having an AI discussion, you want to map your customer journey. You want to spot time wasters and bottlenecks. You want to identify where AI agents and tools could meaningfully help you. And you want to be matched to the right solutions and the right suppliers. And I want to say that again. You want to be matched to the right solutions and the right suppliers for your business. You don't have to build a lab. You just need strategy and a foundation and a guide. All right. So we are going to finish this up. We are going to take our last sip. So today we talked about, of course, the AI divide, and that is the gap between we're using AI and we are getting ROI from our AI. How innovation theater and shadow AI show up in real life. 3 big blockers: misaligned strategy, poor adaptation, fragmented platforms. And what the successful 5% are doing differently, from targeting back office operations to building strong cloud and networking foundations, and of course, working with a trusted tech advisor instead of going it alone. Because AI is not about having the flashiest tool. It is about thinking through what business outcomes you want. So if you're listening and thinking, okay, I'm ready to start dabbling, I'm ready to start designing with intention, I'm going to tell you right now, if I didn't plug Shelby Technology Solutions, what would I be doing, right? So, of course, connect with me at Shelby Technology Solutions. We're on all the social media platforms. If you connect with us on Insta at Shelby Tech Solutions, or through our site, www.shelbyts.com. Let's talk about where you are today, where you want to be, and how we can close that AI divide for your business. And if this episode got you thinking, you know what I'm going to ask, right? Share it with your amigo. I would say share it with any of your amigos who are wrestling with AI strategy or who are trying to think about this. Screenshot the episode, tag us, of course, at Shelby Tech Solutions. And of course, don't forget to follow, rate, and review Tech and Tequila so more people can find us. So, as always, thank you for hanging with me, for being part of this amazing comunidad, and for caring about businesses that are profitable and resilient. But of course, businesses that have un corazón. So until next time, keep your tech smart, your data safe, and your tequila smooth. Salud, familia.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Tech and Tequila. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. To stay updated about all things tech and more, don't forget to visit us at our website, shelbyts.com. If you loved what you heard, remember to show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our podcast. Your 5-star ratings and reviews mean the world to us and help us to reach more listeners just like you. So muchas gracias again for joining us with Tech and Tequila. Thank you so much. You learned a lot about tech, and maybe you had a nice drink of tequila.